Good Tuesday morning, uh, again from Anaheim, California, Disneyland. Yay! Day two of the National Association of Realtors uh, annual conference. And yesterday was all about advocacy, and at least in my world, right? My uh, was all the federal political coordinators and advocacy and legal update and all things like that. Today, um, today a little lighter fare, some classes involved. So today we're on chapter 9, No Limits by John Maxwell. Chapter 9 is leadership capacity and your ability to lift up and to lead other people. And um, John Maxwell tells a story about listening to um, a speaker talk about leadership um, back years ago, several years ago, and at this conference, the speaker was talking about the 5 disciplines of a multiplier, right? And so a multiplier, somebody who um, a leader who is who helps bring out the intelligence in others. And she talks about these multipliers, and he was all excited, right? He said, I'm all excited because the descriptions that she's giving, I do that, right? She talked about the talent magnet, right? The person who attracts talented people and uses them to help get things done, right? And he said, yeah, I do that. And uh, she talked about the liberator who creates this intense environment that results in people's getting people's best work, right? And he said, yeah, I do that. And the challenger, right, the person that causes people to stretch themselves, and he said, I do that. And the debate maker, the person who um, drives decisions by involving other people and getting them to debate back and forth. And the investor, right, who gives other people ownership of the results and invests in their success. And he's like, dude, this is me, right? And he said, this is funny. He says, I started to wonder if this lady wanted to put my picture on the cover of her book, right? So that her readers could see what a real multiplier looked like. And, uh, and he said, before he could offer to let her take his picture, to use his picture, she started talking about how these multipliers can actually um, diminish other people, right? Um, the idea guy um, overwhelms other people that shut down. They don't want to, he's like, I got this idea, and other people are afraid or unwilling to share their ideas, right? The person who's always on, right, intends to create infectious energy and share their point of view, but sometimes drowns out the other people, right? The rescuer wants to um, ends up having people dependent on him, right, or her, and weakens that other person's reputation, right? The pace setter, right, means to set a high standard, but people give up when they can't keep up, right? The rapid responder wants to do everything right now, right? And then the optimist creates a belief in the team can do it, but then people wonder, yeah, you can do it. But you know what? There's a lot of hard work involved, and sometimes that person, and so anyway, John Maxwell said, "Oh, I do that too. I do that too." Right? And so there's got to be a balance, right? In order for us to increase our leadership capacity, right? In order for us to increase our leadership capacity, there are a couple of things we have to remember. And this whole book's about being intentional, right? It's about being intentional. It's about um, realizing um, your strengths and your limitations. So um, he hopes that these things, again, he's got a list, a numbered list, right, of things to help increase our leadership capacity. Number one, ask questions and listen to understand, right? Sometimes we listen perfunctorily, right? We listen, but we're really thinking about what it is that we want to, our agenda or what we want to say next or whatever. So ask questions and listen to understand and to find your people, right? To find your people. Where are they in their journey, right? You ask questions to help find the right people. Um, you want people available who can help you as a leader. And so if you want that, you need to ask questions and listen to them, right? Um, Questions open doors and allow us to connect with other people, right? So you have to not just ask, but truly listen to the answer, right? Put value on that other person. Um, Number two, you have to connect with people before you ask them to change, right? Connect with people before you ask them to change. You're when you're asking somebody to grow or trying to help somebody to grow, you're inviting people to change their focus, to change their energy, to change their skills, and sometimes maybe even change the direction of their life um, for the sake of the team and the accomplishment of the vision. So, how do you get people to trust you um, to change like that? Well, you have to connect with them. I mean, people have to believe. They have to believe in you and in um, your desire for them to be better. That they, that it's not just about changing them to accomplish what you want. That they've got to be willing to change because they value the change. Does that make sense? Um, right. That the change is for the better for them. Right. If they just think you just want them to change so that you can accomplish what you're trying to do, that doesn't work. Right. You have to let people know that you value them, that you value their opinion, that you value the work that they do. Right. That you care. You have to um, you have to identify what the value is that they place on themselves, right? That if people on the team don't believe in themselves, then you've got to help them. You have to try to help them find that belief in themselves. You need to encourage them. You need to speak those positive words of affirmation. Teach them, right? Doesn't always work, right? But if their self-worth doesn't go up, then neither will their performance, right? Um, you have to tell them that growth is expected, right? You have to say, yeah, we get in life what we tolerate, right? And so you have to set expectations. If you don't set expectations, how's somebody going to know what they have to do, right? As a leader, setting expectations for people, you have to be ready to answer two questions. What do you want them to know? And what do you want them to do? Right? As a leader, you want your people to grow and you want them to know that on the front end. You know what? I expect growth from you. And what that means, right? Don't just I expect growth. Okay, right? What does that mean? Growth in what way, right? Um, and if they know if you give them that expectation and they know that you're going to hold them accountable for it, then performance will increase, right? One of the biggest mistakes that leaders can make is sharing their expectations, but then later not including accountability, right? Um, Next, you have to show them that change is essential. If you want, it's impossible to get better without making changes, right? If you continue to eat what you eat, you're not going to get thinner, healthier, right? Just a side note, whatever. Um, Good leaders help people recognize and accept the fact that they're going to have to change, right? Um, he says you have to make the connection a constant, right? It's not I touch base with you every 2 years or whatever. It's we're gonna connect on a regular basis. Um, and then he says that when you have expectations for people, you have to find out if they're willing, right? Will you help me to help you, right? If you don't have expectations of your people, if you have expectations but they don't embrace those expectations, then they're never going to succeed, right? So you have to get their buy-in, right? Will you help me to help you, right? I will guide you in the right direction, but you have to do the work, right? If they don't follow through, right? He says, by getting them to declare the ways that they want to help grow and change, then you obtain their full buy-in, right? And then you can hold people accountable, right? You have to demonstrate, number 3, he says you have to demonstrate transparency before you challenge people, right? You have to demonstrate transparency before you challenge people. One of the most valuable things you can do is be authentic and transparent, share your story, right? It's important for leaders to ask themselves, what do I want them to know and what do I want them to do? And then what do I want them to feel, right? The third question, what do I want them to feel? A leader's story, you got to share your story with them, right? Your story has great potential to change lives and prepare people to act, right? You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to project a perfect image. But people have to believe that you're showing them your authentic self, right? Your authentic self. Number 4, in increasing your leadership capacity, put others ahead of yourself, right? He says that this was a practice that he started, that he learned and started practicing back in the 70s, right? 1976. He said he's been continually building more layers on this truth, and if you build on it, you'll become a better leader. So in the beginning, he said his leadership was all about him. All I did was wonder, does this person want to hear my vision? Do they want to help my team? Do they want to help me? What can they do for me? And then he shifted, right? For the last 20 years, he says he's focused on serving others and intentionally adding value to them, right? We encourage you to make that same shift from me to we, because that's the way it works, right? That's the way it works. It's not all about you. It's not all about, I say you, it's me, right? Me. As the reality is as the challenge increases, the need for teamwork increases, right? As your dreams get bigger, you need more people to help you out, right? Your dreams are bigger than you are. His dreams are bigger than he is. Every worthwhile dream, he says, is greater than the individual who initially holds it. And we can ask other people to help us out, right? So as the challenge increases, the need for teamwork increases. Maturity, right? Maturity, he says, I love this, with one tiny exception, the world is composed of other people, right? With one tiny exception, the world is composed of other people. John Maxwell defines maturity as unselfishness, the ability to see things from other people's perspective because you value those other perspectives. Maturity means building ladders so that other people can climb them up, right? Not fighting to climb the ladder yourself and pushing other people down. Or it's about helping people climb the ladder themselves, right? It says building a ladder means that my success comes from helping others be successful. I might be able to help somebody climb all the way to the top, or I might only be able to help them go up 1 or 2 rungs. Doesn't matter, right? Help people climb as far as they can. And the moment that I can't help them climb another step because they passed me or because they need a different kind of expertise, he says, I move myself out of the picture, right? He said he recently did this with somebody he respected. She wanted to know why he was taking a step back. And he told her, if I start to benefit more than you do in this partnership, then I don't then I won't continue in it. I want to add more value to others than they are adding to me, right? Um, and then finally, profitability, right? Measure your success by what you give, not by what you gain, right? Remember, Zig Ziglar said you can get everything you want by helping enough other people get everything they want, or get what they want, right? Adding value to other people um, is a greater desire, according to John Maxwell, greater desire in him than making money. Should be for all of us, right? Adding value to other people um, is more important than making money, right? Um, doesn't mean we don't want to make money, right? That is not the case. But don't focus. If your focus is on money, there will never be enough, right? Never focus on making money. Focus on making people, right? Never focus on starting companies. Focus on starting people. Never focus on growing production. Focus on growing people, right? Um, John Maxwell said he didn't write that. It was Mark Cole, the CEO of one of his companies, that taught him that lesson. Um, but he says, but he agrees with it, right? Never focus on making money. Focus on making people. Don't focus on starting companies. Focus on starting people. Don't focus on growing production. Focus on growing people, right? Um, our capacity questions, our leadership capacity questions. Number one, how much time and effort do you spend on increasing your leadership capacity, right? Remember, we're talking about being intentional in growing yourself as a leader. What kind of priority has that been for you up until now? And if you're willing to make it a higher priority, what are you going to do to increase it? Number two, how well do you do at connecting with people and challenging them? Are you better at one than the other? Are you better at connecting than you are with challenging? And then how can you get better at the one that you don't do as well at? And then number three, what changes should you make, and what specific action could you take to put others ahead of yourself, especially in your leadership? Right. So those are the leadership capacity questions. Page 168 in the book. Remember, the reflection piece is where the money is. Right. The reflection piece of this is where the money is. Reflection and action. Okay. So that's it. That's all for today, Tuesday, the 14th day of November. Man, this year is just zipping on by. Okay, I hope that you get out there and make today the best day of your life ever so far. And we'll see you tomorrow morning right here, Millionaire Mastermind Book Club.